Manimal.
Broadcasting from the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command. Fascinating.
Damn you all to hell!
This is the Solo Sci-Fi Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Solo Sci-Fi Podcast. And coming from New Jersey, hey Tom.
USA!
And from the delightful places of a bus station, many light years away in Portsmouth,
It is.
with hovercrafts,
It is.
Michael Ball and me
Martin.
from London. Hello and welcome to this week's episode.
Hi guys, nice to have you back on again. Thank you for joining me as always. We always have a laugh on here. Yes, just to say to you, Tom and Martin, we featured this bus station cam, and we came across this community on YouTube that look at this thing every day. And we just thought it was it's basically, you know, we all like different interests, and we just thought it was a bit sort of like something I wouldn't want to tune into every day, just to look at a bus station. But, you know, like I said, we all like
it seems perhaps is it a British obsession to, like, you know, train spot and plane spot and bus spot?
I mean, I've always thought of it as I don't know, train spotting. I mean, do you get a lot of train spotters in America?
No, not so many. Not so many.
Go on, Martin.
I when I was a kid, I used to train spot. I had a book on shunters.
Really? That's fair enough.
I did. The kids near me, we had a bridge, and it was like sort of a train supply route, and we used to sit on a platform or at the top of the bridge writing the side numbers down. You'd have a book,
Right.
thousands of serial numbers, and you'd go looking. And I got one popular because I got a shunter. It should have been up in Scotland, but it was down in Leeds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but
there we
people
go.
were jealous about that, yeah. I mean, that's how sad I fucking
I think-
was.
I think
Yeah.
train spotting is predominantly more of a British thing. I mean, there probably are some train spotters in the States, but I think it's got
Well,
a
you
level
know
of
what
people over here.
we have in the States? We have
Sorry.
plane spotters.
Oh, we've got them.
Spotters.
You got plane spotters?
Yeah,
Oh.
we've got them, yeah. Well, we
Okay.
did, yeah, we did have.
Yeah, I mean, I like sci-fi ships, like starships and stuff like that. I know all the different, so I can see, you know, some appeal to it, I suppose.
When
yeah,
I,
soon there's going to be, we're going to be, like, watching for, like, you know, Starship, different serial numbers of things going to Mars and coming back. And
Yeah, I can see
well,
that.
well, I mean, when I moved to London years ago, I met a tube spotter, and I'm not making that up. They exist. The people that sit down on the tube and they write the carriages numbers down
Oh, it's number RC293.
on the central line.
Man,
Oh,
a tube.
God.
If you said I met a tube spotter and didn't have any contact with it, I might be a little concerned with you. Met a tube spotter.
Yeah, I know.
He's
It's
a
like, okay.
freelance proctologist.
Yeah, I can see
Well,
that being-
maybe it is a British thing. I don't know about train spotters and tube spotters, but but there has been some interesting spotting stuff coming out with the Pentagon, though, hasn't there? Well, on the news about certain events in UFOs and stuff, and the footage. They're now admitting it that they don't know what these things are. I saw one yesterday where it flew at super speed. They got it on infrared, this American fighter, and it went into the sea.
Yeah.
Incredible, and they don't know what it is. So maybe
I
UFO
mean,
spotting.
I know the Pentagon. Yeah, but that's obviously more interesting because we don't know what it is. I mean, I know that the Pentagon has been releasing more information, and they are becoming more forthcoming about stuff. But you know, like I said, you know, I mean, I used to get UFO books myself. I used to be fascinated with it. I'm more skeptical now for the simple reason that everyone's got a camera with them all the time, and also because, you know, a lot of people could do things which are so realistic and of course it's fake. I think there is a degree of some realism in UFOs, but unfortunately there is a lot of rubbish out there, a lot of crap which is made up and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about the surveillance state we live in. Everyone has got a camera in their house or in their phone, and they can whip out their camera at any time.
Yeah,
you know, and you can pull out your phone and you can see, like, a UFO as one of the Wi-Fi options.
That's 20 years ago.
LGMs.
Yeah, like years ago, everyone has a camera all the time, wherever they are. So, but like I said, there's a lot of mystery in it. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
but
there's some-
what I don't understand is when you've got like 4K cameras and high definition, and you can see
always
like
blurry.
the moon and Mars.
Yeah,
Why is the UFO always blurry?
Yeah, exactly, and it's always like just a blob. And
Yeah.
Or it looks like it's fake. I don't know. It's really strange, isn't it? Okay. Apparently, is my audio a bit off? Did you say
When you speak quickly, it is.
Is it cutting out? Okay, I'll try to talk a bit more. I do talk quite fast sometimes, but I'm not going to talk this slow.
I just want to say, since we've got like, a spaceport in the background in Portsmouth with hovercrafts, that I just thought next week, because you're from America, Tom, there is a live cam of Times Square. We could have that on the background.
I think we should do a different one. Let's do an American one next week.
Times Square?
Yeah, we could do Times Square. We could watch the
what we could do. I was going to say, Tom, if you know any webcams in New Jersey, I could record an hour, like that same day we're doing it, and then I could put that in the background. Maybe because I know you have problems with your audio, and then we could have at least one of our images with a background of where somewhere you might know. Might be quite fun.
Let me see if there's Princeton University is really, really nice. Let me see if there's Princeton University live stream. That's right around the corner from me.
Right.
We'll check that. We'll check that out.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute! I got a great one. How about we get an Iceland volcano live stream?
Oh, cool! Yeah, definitely.
My close friend is from Iceland, and they're going bananas up there. Like, it isn't in any way. There's no chill whatsoever regarding that the volcano. There's people like getting married in front of it, and doing break dancing in front of it, and like they're loving this more than they loved when Thor came out. So this is really cool.
Another one I want to do, which Martin has told me about, is the village in Wales where they filmed The Prisoner, and there's a webcam, and that might be quite fun. And we've already done a show on The Prisoner, but it might be fun to have at least one of us having a background. So yeah, we'll keep this going. I think this is a fun idea. But no more bus station cams after this week, I don't think. So are you ready to go into our topic of the week, guys?
I think Martin and I are like, yeah, okay.
I know. Let's get it done. Once it's done, we'll know how to talk about it again. All right, here we go. Here's the jingle.
I love it. I love it.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus
Of the week.
Okay, guys. So this week we are talking about a series from around 1985, and it was certainly one of the most bizarre shows I'd ever seen. I remember it was big in the UK on BBC One, I think it was, on the Black Wednesday at 7:30, and Dr. Jonathan Chase and Simon McCorkindale, I think his name is, without checking it.
And the delectable Melody Anderson.
Oh, exactly. We've got to mention Melody, and that is, of course, Manimal.
Manimal. Man, beast, or creature.
And a series where they actually read out the actual title of the show, because you might not be able to read Manimal. So when you see the titles, it says Manimal like this, and all. Oh God! Let's go ask Martin first. Come on. How did you?
Are you sure you want my opinion on Manimal?
You can say whatever you like. It's a free show.
Are you sure? Manimal is. I'm sorry, I'm going to swear, because Manimal is one of the most stupid fucking TV shows that ever exists. Right? I've watched it, I even made a fucking video about it.
You did.
I go to bed every night and dream about it, because I'm going to tell you why. Why is it back then that these adventurer people have unknown incomes, right? That and they're always wearing tuxedos. They've always got money, right?
Yeah.
And then they help people. Never explains where money comes from. Do you know what
I
I mean?
thought about that. Like rich uncles or something.
Well, I do. My mind goes there, and it shouldn't do, because I'm sad. But right, it's like this whole thing of this guy Like, I mean, in the opening episode, she's like a police officer. Something happens, and she's in a car park, and he sort of like disappears behind a wall and becomes a
Animal.
and attacks this guy, and then he goes back behind one. He's got his suit on again, and she's thinking there's something not normal about him, and then you find out he got his powers from some shaman, and his dad passed it on. His origin story is ridiculous, and it's cringing, and then it just got fucking worse. I mean, there's one episode where this dude thinks he's got away with it, and he's in his swimming pool just at the end, and he's on a water lounger floating around drinking, going, "Fuck you, Manimal," and there's a shark in the swimming pool.
How many times have any of us said that, though?
Well,
I know. But the worst one,
you
know where I'm going with it. It goes my head. It goes undercover as a parrot in a cage, and I'm sorry. That's it. I'll leave the floor open to you two.
Could I say something, guys? I think I'd love to instill a tradition that at the end of each of our podcasts, that we all sign off by simultaneously saying "fuck you, Manimal" together.
Okay.
Fuck you, Manimal.
All right. Solo One podcast is over today. Fuck you, Manimal.
We can have it as our official hashtag on Twitter.
Hashtag
that'd be quite funny. Yeah. All right. Okay.
I think that would be a blast. So if I could opine on Manimal just for a moment. I briefly looked at the brief history of Manimal, which is actually a pretty brief history. It extended over approximately 8 episodes in 1983, or 83 or 85.
I think it was 85.
Sometime around there.
Yeah.
The Wikipedia says 83.
Okay.
And I think it was pulled after like 3 episodes, just because they're like, oh man, there's something amiss here. And then it came back to burn out the last 5 episodes.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know it was actually full within the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, well, in the United States, it was. It may have just ran in the UK.
I think we got the whole lot.
We did.
But I mean, an 8-episode series in the UK that could be the entirety of the thing. You guys have done classic TV,
very short
in 8 hours. Like the UK Office, I think, is only 15 hours
episodes.
or whatever.
Yeah, it's only 12 episodes.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but. I think if Manimal perhaps was done in the UK, you guys could have done a much better job of taking that conceit and running with.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have gone undercover as a parrot in a cage listening to a conversation.
He could have been a gerbil. He could. What's a popular British pet?
He could have. Yeah. He could have been it just would have been him changing into a corgi every week. It wouldn't have been as interesting.
In the palace. In the palace.
Yeah.
I think Manimal is one of those shows that was a weird high concept that was considered way before its time. If you think about what was that show about the helicopter?
Blue Thunder or Airwolf?
Blue Thunder, Airwolf or something like that. Airwolf and the A-Team and all those shows really. They
I like all those shows though.
Yeah,
I love Airwolf.
I love them too, but they were trying to do so much than they possibly could. Like they were way ahead of their times as far as being available. And when they got when they actually got into making them happen on a weekly basis, they ran into problems like, oh man, we just can't keep this up.
Keep doing it. Yeah, they can't keep doing it. Yeah,
that's why the Manimal would go behind a tree, and then suddenly a panther comes out the other side, and then it's just.
So I mean, what we should try is if we were British. So what if I got hired? I was Manimal. Okay, so BBC thought we'd remake it. Michael Ball. So how would I do the changing? How would I go?
What would you? How would you change Manimal?
You could have an opening scene where it begins, and he's on a hamster wheel running.
God! Or he's
That's the first like opening scene of the intro.
what about if he was a spider, sort of going up Big Ben?
I did that. He become a tarantula, didn't he?
Yeah, so he could go up Big Ben or something, so they could actually get
Yeah,
the.
and then somebody steps on him.
Yeah, I guess it didn't account for density. You know, it's like he
No,
can be a
size
spider
and
and a
weight.
mouse.
I mean,
He'd have to
again,
be like a 225-pound parrot.
but the thing is, I have to say this, and this is I do not parallel
That'd
this
be
series.
great.
But Odell Deep Space Nine, he changed it to a rat and a mouse a few times, and this is the same problem. He didn't have weight differential, did he?
Yeah, but it
Yeah,
works.
that's supposed to be the thing with Ant-Man, but they kind of stretched that a little bit depending
I like
on what
Ant-Man.
they want.
I'm going to watch
Yeah, I like
soon.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, Ant-Man didn't go in a cage with a parrot and go undercover, did he? It's just that scene annoys me, Tom. I've watched it, all of it, and I just sat there and I just like my sanity had just left me by that.
But
time.
you said it. You
Yeah.
made a good point. Why does he want to go undercover? Why does he want to do it? Does he get paid? Is he employed, or is he a freelance?
What
does he do?
We had it over there. Yeah, but we had it over there in the 60s, didn't we? A load of hours. You know, like TVs, that The Adventurer and all this.
Yeah.
They all had these mysterious, like the saying, what do they do for a
The
living?
Avengers.
Where do they get the money from?
Yeah.
But they've got a roller and then they have a butler.
I think his father was a tycoon of some sort in Manimal.
Right.
Well,
He's the one that taught him.
Yeah, his father.
So that down in the Delta of South America, there are powers that this man has learned, and now he's going to teach it to his son, so he can be the next Manimal. And God, it really is.
I mean, what if they become like? What if he's like one day gets pissed right and he's had a bit so much champagne because he don't drink beer, does he? So and then he becomes like a goat or something. He gets mounted.
What if he
back. I mean, he goes undercover as a goat or something.
What if he's drunk and he tries to change, and because he's inebriated, he doesn't get the change right? So he's half goat, half rhinoceros or something.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, that's right.
Gerbil again. I mean,
That's right.
It's just I just don't know.
So where did his clothes go?
They never explain that, but I think Michael, you have a deep, slightly under the surface love for this show, and I want to hear your.
Oh yes, I'm not giving.
I want to hear why and how, and how can we help you?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I need psychiatric help. I know. I do. I need to go into a small room with padded walls and stuff. I
You
think,
have defended the show on its special effect, which is an admirable thing. I will agree with you on that. I do defend that show on that.
Wasn't Stan Winston involved with it? I think it was Stan Winston.
I think so, yeah.
Now, of course, he was well known for all sorts of things. I think one of the reasons why I liked it was, again, it was a science fiction premise, and there wasn't a lot of sci-fi on mainstream TV back in the 80s I can remember. I remember Automan was another one, and a few others. I was blown away by the special effects. I thought that the transformations, even now, still look very, very good. I thought the theme tune was really cool.
Yeah.
And I was watching it from 1985's perspective. And I'm quite sentimental for my old shows. So I think for me, it is a slightly guilty pleasure, even though it is really terrible. And of course, I think also the one thing I've noticed in recent years rewatching it is that when he changed it back from an eagle, and he's doing the heavy breathing as he's suddenly back, he suddenly got his suit.
No, I've seen that clip. It's like he's having a wank.
Yeah, he's back. Well, that's right. I mean, that's what he's doing below the actual his head when he's doing this weird breathing and stuff. Oh, that was smelling his own farts. I was wondering he was doing that as well. So to answer your question, Tom, yeah, it is a guilty pleasure. I do have sentimental feelings for it. I wonder how it could have gone if it had 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, I could see them changing into different animals rather than the 2 changes of the eagle, the Black Panther, and there's one where he does change into a snake, which is a very rare one. Yeah, it's fondly remembered because of the time I watched it. It's never been remade. There's never been anybody.
Actually, there
Don't
was.
tell me what was this? Who
There is a slight sequel in one of
Oh
the
yeah,
worst,
I remember this.
in one of the worst superhero series ever made. We got it over there on Sky. Nightman. I don't know if you say Nightman, Tom.
I've never seen it. No.
He's
Nightman.
a saxophone player, but he gets zapped with the power of the universe. Well, he can sense evil. That's all he does. But he has a suit where he can fly. He teams up with Manimal in '90s, and they solve the crime together. I'm not making it up. I've been looking for the clips on YouTube. I can't find it. But luckily, I do have Nightman on DVD, and I did watch the episode.
Yeah, it's because I think that the actor Simon McCorkell's now dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, he died.
But
well, they did this in 1998 was when the Nightman crossover happened.
I think so. That's when he did one episode. But no, it was a two-parter because this guy's after Manimal to take his powers away. And
did Manimal change in this Nightman?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, they both teamed up together and defeated this evil guy because Nightman could sense evil. That was his power. That was it. He could smell evil.
So
maybe that's an interesting way if you were to reboot Manimal for real. I know we're making fun of some of the things, but if you'd have rebuilt it for real, maybe he's not on his own. Maybe he has sort of I don't want to say a Justice League, but a couple of additional powered individuals that he goes on adventures with.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that happening. But like I said, I don't know. It's so cheesy though, isn't it? But then again, it does remind me a bit of more Hulk. So I was a big fan.
It was voted the 5th worst television series ever made.
Yeah,
but I do have a love for it. As much as I tear it apart, I have got an affection for it. I can't deny that.
So how did it end? I assume it just ended on like a random episode. It didn't have any conclusions.
It did. So some of the other worst science fiction shows of all time were actually shows that are classics.
Yeah.
Even though they're technically bad, like Lost in Space was ranked, and Buck Rogers, and a few others. Space 1999. So this one had the dual dishonor of being one of the worst rated of all time, but also
those other shows. I mean, those other shows are much better than Manimal. I mean, I was never a Lost in Space fan, but I love 1999 Space Time, and I like.
At least they're beloved. This one just didn't get the love that others have.
But wait, I mean, back then, where could you have got? Like today, we get story arcs and a 5-year story, and they put a lot into there. There's a lot more, but back then it was just him, his butler, and her. And the police chief that could never figure it out to solve these crimes. And all they did every week was solve the crime. I mean, when they did the sequel with Nightman, at least it did go somewhere for that episode. That there was somebody else who knew what he was and what after. There was something, and I think Manimal, it could probably be. I think it could be redone, but it'd have to be. I think it'd have to. You see, I reviewed Manimal a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it came into my mind that Manimal would be more good as a supernatural series. Like he has like werewolves and like dealing with all the stuff in the shadows. Yeah. And he can take these forms of these creatures on as well to battle them. But he's like a force of good. And I think Manimal, to be honest, I do have an affection for the show. I do, Michael. I agree with you. I mean, even though Planet and it is ridiculous, but there is some potential in there. Yeah. There is, if it's written the right way. I think Manimal, if it were darker, like Supernatural, one of them type of shows, like something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's interesting how they could have done it, continue the story. I mean, I could see an episode where maybe he's like stuck or something. He can't quite get back to being human, and he's half animal. That might have been an interesting thing where he was exposed. But I suppose really, I don't know. There's not much really it could have done. Really, it's a bit of a limited premise.
I think there's if it was redone today, he would probably have a lot more doubt about what he is and whether he wants to be the Manimal. Like
it could be a curse, and the problem is when he's changing, it hurts him because he adapts like certain animalistic personality when he changes. He's not like, and he has to battle that all the time, the inner animal.
Yeah.
What about if he what they could have done is if he returned to looking human, but as you say, some of the animals he mimics, their factors start to change him mentally, and he becomes more unstable. That could have been an interesting premise.
Or maybe he gets stuck in animal form. And
I mean, like I said, this is another parallel with Incredible Hulk, but they had exactly these things. An episode where Banner was angry, and there's another where he's stuck half and half. And there's one where he meets another Hulk. I mean, they could have done all the same things. They, he's got somebody else he comes across who's also learnt the same art of changing into animals, and they fight or something. There's quite a few obvious ways they could have done it.
Well, there could be a lady Manimal or a womanal.
Yeah, when you said that made me laugh. Womanal.
Womanal.
If it had been successful, I mean, if it had been like,
from where? I don't want the feminists outside my house burning my house. I'm sorry, I apologise. But a Manimal would be sexy, so you would call it womanal.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's in today's culture wars that's going on. You couldn't exactly, if it were a female, you couldn't call her Manimal, could you?
So, but maybe it would need to be womanimal. So it would.
Womanimal.
Woman. Yes, I can say that. I can say womanimal.
Womanimal.
It sounds like Manamana from the Muppets.
Yeah, it would be very hard to feminize manimal properly. You'd have to call it like personimal, which sounds even worse. Persanimal, I don't know.
Well, actually, what about if they did a contemporary thing where he was a transgender animal? Transgender. Oh, I'm not gonna go there.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
No. I'm just saying that, you know what I mean. They might have actually do one where it was. No, maybe I shouldn't.
These are all like from like producers' bad ideas, like from the
it was like the writing.
Hey fellas, how can we make this the worst?
It's like a team meeting. We're writing episodes, and we're sort of like bouncing off each other for ideas.
You say I've got a thing for these. I love cancelled TV shows that are absolutely crap, but there is a story there because somebody signed $6 million to make it, and some idiot wrote it, and they thought this is genius. And when it got made, they got the worst people in to make it, but it cost millions of dollars. Manimal, for what it is, must have cost $5-6 million to make. That's a lot of money.
It would have been. There
is a story there in this because I've just watched season 2. I'd say it's the 4th worst series I've ever seen in my life this week, and I don't know if we should cover this. Baywatch Night season 2.
Oh, do you know what? Since you said that, I've now got the first 2 seasons of Baywatch, the original. I'm going to try and watch it because one of the reasons why I know you're going to say that because the weather is so god awful in May in the UK. I just want to say something where it's sunny and the sea and it's happy and stuff like that. So, but you thought about Baywatch Nights very quickly, Martin, because I know you talked about that.
Well, it's like, we go from letting being a lifeguard, then he sets up a PI agency, part-time, investigates standard boarding crimes every week, and helping people, and then suddenly we go all X-Files. He stops sailing invasions and travels in time and meets vampires, and he stops an alien invasion, he's got crutches on. I'm being serious. I'm not making it. He goes into the future in a dinner suit in a post-apocalyptic future, and next day he's back at his beach house saving people. It's like, are you all right, Mitch? You know this other thing. For 400 years looking for a man, and she finds him. And he battles her and defeats her. He takes on satanic devil forces with his will. He stands there, Mitch from Baywatch, and defeats like satanic forces. And there's all these pictures spinning around newspapers. I fell off the chair in stitches. I've watched all of it. And why did he go from that to this? Do you know what I mean?
Know.
We have to cover Baywatch Night season 2 at some point. But it is of the same ridiculousness of Manimal.
Yeah, it is.
Did Manimal really lean into its ridiculous, or did it try to be kind of?
I think it tended to be a serious drama.
Yeah.
It wasn't as a parody or a comedy. It actually was supposed to be a drama about a character who could change form.
Yeah. and he helps people. I mean, Tom. Like you're one of the directors, and you get the scripts, and he says, like the producer says, well, we want him to change into a parrot, right? And then put him in a cage, and he's going to listen to the conversation. I mean, you're like a director. Yeah, you're going to be sat there thinking, what? Can you say that again, please?
I would be if so. Okay, that's a great conceit. What would, if I was a director and someone came and told me that was what we're doing, I would be. I would immediately think of the Monty Python skit about the dead parrot.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
God, yeah.
Classic.
That was the first thing that would come to mind. But I would also wonder, where the heck does that even come from? You know, that is just that is it's got to be one of those things that they came up with, like, because everybody wanted to go out for martinis. It was the 80s, and they needed to think of something to get out of the writer's room. Like, screw it, he's just a parrot.
Parrot.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was like, hey, wait a minute, Barry has a parrot, and we can borrow the parrot, and that's it.
And next week he's going to become a hamster.
Yeah, maybe it was about the animals they had access to. Like, it could have been so they knew some guy that had a monkey or something like that.
I would like to see the guy who pitched it to Paramount or whoever he did. He gets this big idea. This guy, he's British, and he can change into a parrot. You know, and that's great. Let's make it. And of course, that's the one gets here, and it gets about 3 viewers. And then, of course, in American TV, it's very cutthroat, as we all know, and it's British as well. But even and it didn't last, even as you say. I actually thought that those 8 episodes were shown, and then it was just like cancelled mid-season. But it only, as you say, only 2 or 3 episodes were actually.
I think we got them all there, though. We got them all.
We got them all. Yeah, we got them all. That's what I'm saying. So
it had a big audience there, though, on a Monday night. I think it was Monday or a Tuesday when it were on, wasn't it?
And
it was popular, wasn't it? People watched it.
It was. Yeah, it was. It was on. I mean, like I said, go on.
You know what? I think the back in the day there wasn't as much competition for sci-fi genre type stuff.
No.
It was, if something came on like this, the people that were loaded and locked, ready to watch a sci-fi show would watch it religiously, like we would. 1999, this show. So, where it probably missed was the crossover, the additional audience it would have needed to be successful.
Yeah.
It's funny how you say that, because in the 70s with the $6 Million Man, which I'm a big fan of, they crossed over quite a lot in that with the Bionic Woman and stuff, and it really did work, didn't it? The Bionic universe, when he crossed over with the Bionic Woman. And do you remember Sasquatch? They even crossed him over into Bionic Woman, and it worked, didn't it? That's why it was such a big success, like the whole Bionic thing.
Well, they thought it was, like I said, successful, that like we would have had like spin-offs or some other shows where they would cross over, like the $6 Million Man or Bionic Man stuff. So, well, I think we should wrap up now with this interesting show. Any last opinions of it? Are you glad it's been made, or is it just the biggest mistake in history?
I think it needs to exist. It's something to be studied and admired and laughed at.
Absolutely.
I agree. It is one of those wonderful things that shouldn't have been, but was.
And it's just there out there, and it's never going to go away. And you'll always
unfortunately,
do your thing with the hands. I used to do this with my kids when I was younger. When they were younger, I used to say, "I'm going to change," and I used to start doing this with the hands, and they used to slap my hands. Don't change into a Black Panther, Daddy. It's like really sad. All right, guys, thank you for that. I think at this point we'll go into. There's not much news. There's one bit of news I want to talk to you both about, especially you, Martin, because you're a big fan. Let's go into the jingle and quick talk about this.
Working. Solar Sci-Fi
News. So this week I've only seen one thing which came across last night, my time, which of course is a big news for anything to do with MGM. Now MGM is obviously the only franchise, well, 2 franchises I like with MGM. It's the Stargate franchise and the James Bond franchise. And the Stargate series was cancelled partly because the company sort of fell into administration, I think it was in about 2011, Martin, something like that.
Financial crash,
financial crash. Apparently, Amazon Prime has offered to buy it, and apparently the worth of the entire MGM company is worth it's $6 billion. And apparently, Amazon has offered $9 billion, and so it's all starting to kick off. It's looking very interesting because MGM is one of the few major companies where it's just become stagnant in recent years. I know that they've been partly affected. They wanted a big financial boost from the latest James Bond film, which of course has been delayed because of the pandemic until I think it's October, when originally it was supposed to come out something like April last year. So it could well be that if Amazon takes over that company, then they'll have the rights to a lot of shows, including the Stargate franchise. So, I mean, what do you think, Martin, as a fellow fan? Do you think that could be trigger after?
Hey, that's not the only news. It's been interesting, the movements this week. Warner Brothers, as they're getting rid of a lot of their assets and putting it into a new company, and somebody else is coming in. I think it's AT&T or something. I don't know. It's a big media company, and they're doing something joint with them. Right. So Warner Brothers is up to stuff as well with their back catalogue, because HBO's not took off.
Oh, okay.
But this MGM thing, it's looking good, because Netflix is on the sniff as well. Yeah. I mean, they've got a massive back catalogue. I mean, going back, I think Forbidden Planet's MGM, they've got an amazing back catalogue of MGM. Not just all the musicals back in 50s and 40s. They've got a massive catalogue. I think it's looking good. If Amazon or Netflix get Stargate, they're going to do wonders with it.
Well, I was thinking in many ways, it's back to old-fashioned TV, where, of course, in the States you had CBS, NBC, ABC, I think. They had sort of a few major networks. Yeah. And it seems now that the streaming things are the way that they're their own sort of internal channels, like you watch stuff inside their own channel. And it's very interesting how it's all forming up now, how live TV really is becoming a thing of the past. So I think this is very positive. I think it's exciting. And, like I said, it's such a void for news. At least we know that this could be very interesting for new projects in the future, at least with the those things that you mentioned. I think it's really good. That's the only thing. I think Tom said you've got some piece of sci-fi news. Yep. What have you got for us?
Nothing big. It's just that it looks like Dune is going to be released on HBO Max. After all, there had been some discussion about it going to go into theaters, but it is going to be on HBO Max. That is the lamest news possible.
Is it not going to at all then?
It will be going to cinemas simultaneously as
one of those things where they get the same time. Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to see it in cinema.
Are your cinemas open yet, Tom? Can you go?
Some of them are, yeah.
Ours opened on Monday.
Yeah. The one in our town, we had a cinema in our town, and it actually closed a couple of months ago, an AMC. There's not one, within 5 miles of me anymore.
Right.
I mean, my town has everything.
Would you feel comfortable going back to the cinema yourself, Tom, if one was available, if there's a good film? Or do you still feel a bit uncomfortable about being in that kind of environment?
I think now would be probably a good time because a lot of people are uncomfortable about going, so it'd be pretty empty. It'd probably be, forget the pandemic. It'd probably be, if you didn't have to worry about that. It'd probably be a pretty nice experience because nobody would be there. Nobody would be around you. You could get away with bringing in your own food because you'd be like, hey, I don't want to touch your food, so I'm going to sneak in these M&Ms.
I do that. I always do that anyway.
I do that.
Because you save about 20 quid.
Yeah, you do.
Go to the supermarket.
I'm not paying $17 for a bag of M&Ms.
No, exactly. I mean, like a cinema hot dog is about 15 quid or something.
It is £5 for a Coke.
It's ridiculous. I wouldn't do that. No, we don't do that.
No.
That's tough. I feel for that industry. It's cinemas are a nice thing to have in our culture. It's nice to be able to go and experience that and be in a giant thing. But the best experience I've ever had at a movie theater was Mad Max, Fury Road.
Yeah.
Because I went. I used to take 9/11 off every day because I worked in Lower Manhattan. But So subsequent years, I take off 9/11, and it was a random Wednesday, and I went to go see Mad Max in the middle of the day on 9/11, 2013 or something like that, whenever the movie came out. And I was the only person in the theater to see Mad Max in a big theater, in a big IMAX theater, watching Mad Max for Fury Road, and that is a literal 2-hour explosion car chase.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Fury Road?
I've seen it, yeah.
Holy crap, Mike!
It's an insane movie, isn't it?
We should talk about Fury Road as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Do I need to see all the previous films?
No.
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'll try and check it out.
If you understand how gasoline works and how explosions work, then you will enjoy this movie.
I like car chase films. I mean, one of my favourite it's actually lorry films.
Do you know what I loved? Do you know what I loved about that film, Tom? You know when they were in that big chase at end and there's them on the guitars with the speakers all swinging about.
The movie is just it's got so many cool little things everywhere, and it's a stunningly beautiful movie. Even though there's things exploding, it just looks like fantastic. There's a scene where what Martin's talking about is there's this guy throughout the entire movie who's strapped to the front of or the top of a big truck, and he's got speakers behind him, and his job is basically to play heavy metal music as they're chasing this guy through the desert, and flames are coming out of the end of his guitar. In fact, I think I have to call a play and say, let's do Fury Road next week. We gotta do Fury.
I'm up for that, Tom.
Okay.
Predator's a great movie, but knowing that you have not seen Fury Road, Michael, it's making my gallbladder grow back.
Can I just say one thing? When you saw Tom Hardy play Max Grotowski as Mad Max, did I never even thought about Mel Gibson when I watched it?
No.
Never once registered it used to be Mel Gibson.
Yeah, it didn't bother me one bit. In fact,
think about it.
What's really crazy about this movie is that he's like an observer almost, Mad Max. The real story is about Charlize Theron's character, Furiosa. That's the real story. And he's along for the ride and shooting people and doing crazy stuff, but she's basically in charge. And she plays this badass one-armed warrior who's trying to escape with basically take these hostages to safety. And it is a movie that you'll watch with your jaw hanging on the ground. I remember when I saw it, my tweet review of it was Oscar-worthy 2-hour car chase.
Yeah. Hey, awesome film. Definitely next.
It's a society where there's no gasoline. Is that right? Is that the whole premise of this series? It's like an alternate future, isn't it? I don't know much about that, Max. I just want to know things.
Yeah, it's scarcity. Scarcity. There's not a lot of gas, not a lot of water, not a lot of food. Yeah. Okay. Everybody's Australian.
I mean, my favourite chase movie chase movie is Duel from 1971. Did you see that?
I have seen.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. I love that film. I like.
There is a film came out same time as Joel. Has anybody ever seen Killdozer?
Oh no, I've seen Maximum
Robert Ulrich from Vegas. Spencer Faraya. There's what they call them, a building tractor, gets possessed by an alien force and it's going around killing everybody on this island. It's a Killdozer.
Have you seen Maximum?
Check it out.
Have you seen Maximum Overdrive?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite good. Yeah. I like that film.
Yeah. And it's that sort of premise is Killdozer, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And the car, it's called The Car, which is quite good as well.
Iconic movie, that Maximum Overdrive. I saw that on BBC Two, wasn't it? I never seen it.
Yeah.
And I thought, cool. What the hell is this? Emilio Estevez. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those weird sort of cult films, but it's really kind of like, and of course Christine's not one I'm a big fan of. I love Christine.
I haven't seen that in years, Chris. Have you seen that, Tom? Christine.
Stephen King.
Stephen King. The Plymouth car. Is it a Plymouth car or something, isn't it?
Oh, something like that.
Yeah.
It might be fun to do a Stephen King show someday and just talk about all.
Yeah. To be honest, I think that it's so good that we can make episodes on specific films or stories because he's got such a broad canvas. I mean, Misery, Carrie. There's so many.
Salem's Lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some great ideas. But I think obviously Thomas now nominated next week's show, so I've now got to do the homework and watch this Mad Max. What's it called? Mad Max? What was it?
Fury Road.
Fury Road. Okay.
You could, just pop into other three if you want to watch them. Like the other, just give them a quick look. Watch Fury Road is the best. Fury Road.
If it's relatively standalone, then I'll do that.
Yeah, there's no need to watch the others.
Okay, that's what I'm worried about. Like I've watched the Marvel films in the wrong order. But I know I've missed out on some stuff, and I'm still catching up with the Marvel.
For some reason, in post-apocalyptic future, people have mohawks and wear motorbike jackets.
And it's in all.
I don't know why they get after apocalypse. Yeah, they used to do that in 80s.
Why is it in Australia? Why is it in Australia?
I think it was filmed there, so all the actors.
It's just the location.
It's not in a distinct place, but all the actors are clearly Australian.
In the first film, he was a police officer, wasn't he? Wasn't he a police officer, an Australian police officer, road officer or something?
Yeah, but no one in this film is like, none of the actors were ever chill like Australians are in real life. They're very, very. They just want to murder you. I've never had an Australian try to murder me. I don't know about you guys. But.
No, I'm not letting you. No. They're very. I mean, you should generalise.
Very nice
people. Very generalised, aren't they? Very sort of.
Yeah, that is a I did make a generalisation. Maybe there are Australians out there that are trying to murder you.
No, but I mean, I think that when you talk about Australians, you do sort of think of them as very laid back, and he's going then, "Can I, mate? Can I have a derby?" I'm not just saying.
Yeah.
But, I think they're nice, easygoing culture. They've got nice weather. They're happy where they are. Good luck to them. That's what they want to do. It's fair enough.
Yeah, I have plenty of colleagues in Australia who always are.
Have you ever been? I've never been to Australia. Have you ever been to Australia, Tom?
Never been.
No.
They've always come. I work for an international company, and they always come to us. So it's they never show up trying to steal gasoline and murder any of us. It hasn't happened yet.
I wear leather and have mohawks.
Again, I don't want to generalize. It may happen.
Oh no, exactly. No, it's quite funny. And I mean, the best comedian from Australia, Clive James and Paul Hogan are the two I really like in Australia. Both very funny men in their own respective backgrounds. All right, Martin, anything else from you before we wrap things up?
I think I mentioned it actually when we were on about the UFO thing with the Pentagon, and we discussed that. I've looked for news this week and I've found nothing.
I keep saying this. The last few weeks, there's nothing going on.
I've watched a few YouTube reviews about what they think's going to happen in the next Marvel movie, but it's all speculation, So that's it. Nothing. I'm quite shocked actually.
I've seen episode 3 of The Bad Batch. It's all right. It's quite good. It's quite interesting how it's going. Martin's not seen it yet, so no spoilers.
I'm waiting till episode 4.
Episode 5, I think. They should be released at funny times, because I think episode 2 was released something like last Monday, and then it was about 3 or 4 days later episode 3 was released. So it just seems to be a bit sort of haphazard, their release schedule. So I don't know what's on there. But it's Star Wars, and again, we're all waiting for these shows to be made so we can really get in and review them and feature, podcast. I mean, what we'll do is, with all this stuff coming up, we'll have our end of season review. We'll talk about it generally, and then we'll give our opinions of stuff that we all watch together. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. So anything else before you wrap up?
What we're gonna say? 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Fuck you, Manimal.
Manimal. I was trying to think one more time, and then what we'll do, we're going to finish off with Stargate, the guy singing Stargate, SG-1, the guy that sang at Lancelot. So 1, 2, 3.
Fuck you, Manimal.
All right, guys, we'll catch you next week on the Solo 165 podcast. Thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, take care.
Hello, Professor Q here. And this is my goodbye to Stargate SG-1. Stargate. Let's get the heck out of here. Let's get the heck out of it. Let's get the heck out. Let's get the heck to the Stargate. It's a great big world. It's a great big swirl. You can step inside to another world. I'm talking Stargate. It's a crazy trip. You can go quite far and you don't need a car or even a ship. With General O'Neill and Carter and Jackson and Tilk. Look out for that. Go, 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 go.